I feel like the biggest lesson in there was just to keep working through it. Just keep working through it, and also not abandoning yourself. You can't abandon yourself.
You're watching Crosstalk Season 4.
Nico is finally comfortable, which means that we can now start this
I've been
episode.
waiting on these guys all morning, but yeah, I guess we can now start.
We can now start this episode of Crosstalk. You want me to use your government name or we just stick to Nico?
Oh, we can stick to Nico.
Okay. Everybody, meet Nico.
Hi.
First crop over. How
Yeah.
was it? How was it?
I feel like I had a lovely time. I know I haven't heard like really great reviews about Crop Over in the past, to be honest, but I thought I was like, I don't know what everybody's talking about. I had a great time.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun.
We saw you on the road.
Yeah.
Were you even going on the road?
I was not. I had zero plans, but you know, I had a little birdie, Chantel, in my ears from 5 a.m. messaging me saying get on the road. So, you know, I had to get with the program. I had to show up.
How was that vibe?
It was great. I think maybe not planning things and then just showing up, kinda, you have no expectations. So I guess you know, like you can't lose. It just once the vibe is there, the vibe is there.
Would you say that's you? In terms of very spontaneous, just let things happen, or would you say that outside of Kadooment Day that you would say that you were very planned as a person?
I'm not very planned of a person. I've been winging my life since primary school. Yeah, definitely. I'm a winger for sure. So yeah, no, I'm not a planner.
Right, yes.
It might come as a surprise as a business owner, but I know how to make myself work.
That's the thing, right? I'm happy you mentioned it because yes, she is a business owner. When I first met you, it was not your business capacity; it was a social capacity.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting.
Yeah.
Skip that part. Let's go to the business owner side because obviously I learned that
Yeah.
afterwards. You said that you're not very planned as a person, but things happen for you.
Yeah.
How did you end up because I would say that, you know, I don't really like to compliment you too often, but you know, you're quite successful and things are going well for you with your merch line of things, and it didn't even start there with merch, it started years before that, but
Yeah.
how did you then end up here? You know, if you're not that planned, things just were over you. How did you end up getting to being this successful?
I feel like I don't feel that successful. I mean, I guess
Humble.
maybe it looks that way, but I mean, it's a lot of hard work. Honestly, it's a lot of hard work. I would say what helped me start merch is the fact that right out of college, I had a very sorry, we're gonna have to work with this cough, guys.
That's the carnival
Yeah.
cough.
I had a very cool job for online e-commerce company, and I worked in private label and I worked in marketing project management. So I have a very strong background in product development, and I have a lot of knowledge on the entire process of creating a product from idea to launch. So I think I did that job for like 4.5 years, you know, and I saw, you know, my department build several brands and stuff like that from scratch. So just like at a base level, I kind of enter this industry with a kind of understanding of how things work that helped me to kind of push myself in ways that I guess other people don't know that it's possible. Like, you know, a lot of people don't know how this type of stuff works. So I kind of had that advantage to start with, in that I spent a long time in an environment of watching people build brands, you know?
Know that you're here saying that you're not that successful, but you've been able to break into quite a few markets with your products. How easy has it been to navigate not just the product space, but the carnival space?
I'll start by saying how I got the idea for merch really is I was at a job with like a small marketing agency that I absolutely hated. But like, if you're like me, you're an international person living in the US, you're on an H-1B visa, you kind of understand how that goes, right? You get stuck with companies sometimes that you don't love, but you got to do it. And so I spent a lot of my time there thinking like, what is going to be my thing? Like, what could be my thing? Like, like I know I could do stuff, but it's like a process for a lot of us, like creative people, just finding what your thing is. And I was actually like on the job one day, and I was at a video shoot, and I had done everything I needed to do for the day, and I was just like on the internet just looking at stuff, and then I saw this thing about merchandise, and and like a light bulb just went off in my head, and I literally left work that day. I was out in Tennessee, went back to my hotel, and I made my logo like in my hotel room that night, and like everything just came together for me. So after that, a lot of people don't know this, but Kaiso Swim, Kaiso Carney, Trisha Leacock, we are not the same person. That's actually my younger sister.
I actually thought that you were the younger one. You're not first, you know.
No,
I thought so.
No. She might not like that, but no, I'm the older sibling, and she was doing her first Monday wear line for Trinidad Carnival in 2023, and I had just gotten the idea for merch that December, so I was like, oh, lovely opportunity. I'll do her merchandise for Trinidad Carnival, and that will be like, you know, like my jump off of my resume. So one of the first things I was looking at was finding a leg bag, right? We wanted to do a leg bag with her stuff, and I was, you know, doing all the searching online, Alibaba, AliExpress, all that kind of stuff, and I couldn't find a bag that I actually like all the ones, they were ugly, right? So again, this goes back to my product development background. I had seen my global sourcing managers like draw products and then come back and have like a final sample that they would show me and stuff like that. So I knew that I could go and search for factories and go to them with a drawing and say, hey, this is what I want to create, and have them make it for me. So I actually drew up, made all the dimensions, came up with the concept for how I wanted this leg bag to work, and I searched until I found a factory that was willing to do the minimum the minimum order quantity that I would have been able to purchase to start with. So that's kind of how the first merch product came along, kind of by accident, kind of not, because I would say the first time I played Trinidad Carnival was, I believe, 2018. And I remember telling Trisha, oh, you have to come. You have to play with me next year. And she was just getting her swimwear out there. You know, her brand was Rain before that. Now it's Kaiso Swim. And I remember telling her, hey, like, I think we could do something here. It was my first time, like, going to, like, a band house, going through the costume collection process, seeing what it was like. And I was like, I think we could do something here. So, like, it didn't really happen how I thought it would happen, but especially with the pandemic and stuff like that. But all of it ended up kind of coming together in a way I couldn't even imagine, you know?
So now, in terms of actually being in that carnival space, has it been challenging? Because I also know that, for example, you encounter copycats, you know, all these different things. So yeah.
I would say, okay, so starting with just creating the leg bag, I knew firstly that it would be a product that is, I wouldn't say easily, but I knew that people would eventually start copying it, right? So a first part of my business strategy was to not price too high, right? A lot of the bags that were on the market, I think were priced, one of them was like 80 something US or somewhere up there. And the others kind of floated around 45 US, 40 US, you know, 25. So I kind of tried to enter the price that was just at the cusp of what you need to price an item at to be able to run a business and, you know, like be able to afford to do all of the things. Because, like, I don't think a lot of people will go on Alibaba and they'll see a product for $5 and they think that's it. Like, I go on there and I get this $5 product and I could sell it back for $50 and that's it. But that's just like an initial cost. Like, that doesn't include customization, right? It doesn't include your logo. It doesn't include shipping. It doesn't include taxes. It doesn't include like customs and all those other things. It doesn't include your marketing budget, the cost to run your website. You know, like all these kind of things you have to consider when you're building a brand and you're launching a product. So it's a lot more complicated than you think. I completely lost my train of thought. Where were we going with this?
Oh, the carnival space and how, you know, difficult or how easy it has been to navigate that space once you got into it.
Okay, so let me get back on track. So cut that. So in trying to figure out what my strategy would be to get into the carnival space, firstly, I started reaching out to bands, big up to Fusion Mass. in St. Lucia. That was the first band to take me on, so I'll be with them forever. They're like some of my favorite people to work with. My initial strategy was, at first with my factory, I had a very low minimum order quantity, right? So I could do like maybe 50 bags per color. So it would have been great to be able to do custom bags with each band, where it's like it has their logo, my logo, because again, it's my product. I do have like a patent pending for it, for the design. And you know, like I started reaching out to bands, you know, saying like, hi, I have this new product. We could do it co-branded, blah blah blah. You know, I do merchandise, and initially it worked until my factory decided to like quadruple my minimum order quantity on me. So I was just like, oh, where do we go from here? That doesn't work anymore, because the average carnival band outside of Trinidad might be, in my experience, somewhere between 800 and say 1600, 1700 people, right? And it's difficult for a band like that, of that size, to do fully custom in the hundreds, right? So I actually had a small band reach out to me in Dominica, and they were like, hey, we know that we're not going to be able to meet your minimums, but we'd love to be an official retailer. And then, you know, the light bell went off again, and I was like, ding, ding, ding. So as soon as their carnival is actually the same time as Trinidad. So as soon as that light bulb went off, I reached out to Exodus, which is the band that I love these guys also. So they were the first people that I had a pop up with. So when I had just launched the leg bag, it was like I literally got them in hand the day before I was leaving to go to Jamaica Carnival. And I popped up with them, and that was like the first time the bags got out there. I made the tweets that went a little viral, and you know, that's when everybody started seeing the product. So big up Exodus Carnival. The guys who run that band are some of the sweetest, nicest people I've ever worked with in my life. Like, they actually took me on and took me seriously from the start, even though like even though nobody knew who I was, right? So I reached out to them and I said, hey guys, I know last year I was fresh, but this year I would really love for you guys to come on as an official retailer for the bags. And you know, they said yes, and in that, then I started reaching out to other bands, and I'd be like, hey, I have these two bands that have come on as official retailers. I feel like it would be great if you did the same. And I kind of like repeating that process until, you know, I got on to most of the carnivals in that's happening around the world. And that was really my strategy, because again, to combat copycats, I know that I needed to get deep market penetration as fast as possible. So it was really a lot of hard work trying to find these connections, trying to reach out to these band owners, and trying to be the first one in front of them with this product to be like, hey, like, let's work together.
Now I want to open my book of wonders, because this is where all my research is done.
Yeah.
No, I want to take you back, because somewhere in here there was you tweeted about conversation with your younger self.
Okay, let's hear that.
So,
oh God.
Good. What do you think your younger self would tell you no? Let's take you back to, let's say, 16-year-old Nico. What do you think, looking at where you are now, 16-year-old Nico would tell you?
She said, what's up? That's kind of cool. She was like, oh, she'd like everything that I'm doing right now, for sure. She'd be like, that's cool, you're cool. Yeah, she'd be into it. She'd be into it. Yeah. She might say work a little harder. Come on, make something cooler, but she'd be into it. Yeah.
No problem. No. What would she tell you about how often you've lost all of your bank cards?
Oh God.
You lost them in 2019. You lost them in 2020. You lost them in 2021. You lost a retainer in 2019 as well.
Okay, but in 2021, you do see that's where everything changed. Everything shifted, and that's because my friend Jarrell told me to stop losing my wallet and go buy an actual card holder. And I went and bought one like the same weekend, because I lost my cards again. I had this really bad habit. So like, I was never a big purse girl. That's like a recent thing. Like I was a big tomboy growing up. So. I would just leave home, and it's just like me, Apple Pay, and God. And like, if there's no Apple Pay, I'll just put a credit card in my back pocket, and then I lose it. But in 2021, you know, like, I turn a new leaf, got a card holder. I put Apple Tag in there also, so I'm super responsible and stuff. Like, yeah, I'm a changed person.
So like, outside of that, would you say then that Because I know you've done things before that 2021 period, and I mean in terms of life, because obviously I was able to go back and find articles where you put on runs and all
Yeah.
that, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, so I did an event in Tobago. It was like a summer event called Gloron 5K. It was like a nighttime 5K. So it was like the first event of its kind like that back home. And it was a lot of fun. I haven't done it since the pandemic. Every year, or every time I'm in Tobago, people come up to me and be like, when are you going to do Gloron again? When are you going? And honestly, it's so much work. And I'm not going to lie, I haven't been as passionate about it. Like, I don't have the same big team of friends. Like, everybody kind of has their own lives now. Like, back then, when I first did that, we were in college, right? You know, like, we didn't have kids. Nobody was married. We had a lot more free time. But now everybody is, like, working full time. So it's like, it's not the same. So I would really have to rally the troops to do an event like that again, but I do miss it. It was a lot of fun. It was a great era.
You said something there that took me in a different direction, because I was going to ask you another question.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask you about that friends thing, because I know that it is always a topic of discussion, especially for people who find themselves in very social spaces. How have you found it in terms of being able to identify the right people to take on your journey? Because you talked about being back there in 2015, you know, friends having different, like, you know, all that kind of stuff, and being here now. Like, what would you say you've used as, I don't know, your benchmark, bench stick? I don't know, but I hope you understand this long-winded question I say. But in terms of, like, choosing the right people to take on your journey in what is a very social space.
So to be honest, I didn't start talking to people outside of my 5 friends till like 2021. Like, I'm not the most talkative person. And the funny part is, my 2 sisters, the opposite of me, they have very big personalities. You know, like they're like a lot more social butterflies than I am. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll have a sip. Promise I'm gonna go get this cough checked out as soon as I get back home. But yeah, you know, like, I would not say I'm a social butterfly, but I do understand from a business perspective that I have to be able to talk to people, I have to network. So it's actually been something that I've been working on, you know, personally, I would say since like the end of 2021, realizing that if I wanted to do certain things, you know, I have to be able to talk to people, right? Even doing this interview, like, you understand, I spent hours last night trying to figure out how to tell you I'm not coming, but here I am. Here I am, so, you know.
And you were the person that said, Joelle, we need to have this, by the way.
Was I?
Yes.
Bruh, I was probably just hyping a moment.
Nah, I remember I can't remember what I posted, and your response says, so when is our interview, Joelle?
Oh my God.
Yes, it was you that triggered the events of today.
That's crazy. I don't even remember that.
Like months ago, by the way.
Bruh,
Months
I
ago.
was just talking. I'll be honest. I don't know why I said that. I know myself.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah. Okay. But yeah, I mean, like, I've always been a very picky person when it comes to my friends. You know, like, I know who I consider friends. I know who I consider acquaintances. You know, and yeah, I think on a personal level, I do have a very small circle of very close friends that I talk to all the time, and then I understand, you know, when business is business. Yeah.
You keep mentioning, let's say last 5 minutes of our comment, 2021 has come out as, I don't want to call it a change year, but as, it sounds like it was a very important year.
Oh, it's a rough year. Worst year of my life. But I feel like the biggest lesson in there was just to keep working through it. And also not abandoning yourself. You can't abandon yourself. You know, that's the most important thing. You have to always be there for yourself, and I think that was just a year I had to be there for myself in a big way, and, you know, we made it.
Was it a case of it because of the pandemic? I know that obviously we're coming off the pandemic,
Yeah, I mean,
or was there more to it in that year?
I mean, there was a lot that happened to me in that year, talking like personal life, work life. You know, it's like when you, I think a major part of it was really my career took a big shift. You know, like when you're working towards something, a specific thing for a really long time, and then it kind of comes to abrupt shift. You know, it's a lot to have to deal with, but you know, you gotta work through these things. And you know, I did have support from amazing friends, my 5 close friends. So you know, definitely got me there.
Bigger than 5 people, yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Open back at this book.
Yeah.
Okay, I know I got more things talk to you about. Don't mind that, Nicholas. Now tell me that our time is wrapping up here. But there are two questions in particular I want to ask you in the time that we have left. And the first one is to kind of get an understanding of what motivates you and why you do what you do.
So I think I come from a very creative family, and I also come from a business family. Like my parents are both entrepreneurs. My grandparents on both sides were very involved in arts and creating things. Like I grew up doing a lot of arts and crafts with my grandparents. So I've always been able to have a great blend of business and creativity, and being able to combine the both. And I just kind of like making things. Like I love making things. I love that I'm building a brand. I love making really cute packaging, and a lot of I say a lot of the products. I have 3 products, but I'm about to launch a new one right now. And just like the leg bag, it was kind of inspired by making something that wasn't there. This product is actually probably the longest time I've spent in like product development, like Q&A and testing and stuff like that. So when I did the leg bag, it was like maybe 2 rounds of samples before I got it. When I did the chest bag, they came out perfect after the first round of samples. But this one, I definitely played with the materials a lot, getting the colors done a lot. And I actually just wrapped up my shoot in Trinidad, so I'm looking to launch hopefully next week. But I think it's really cool. It's really innovative. I think the girls are gonna love this one. The girls are gonna love this one.
About this product. We talked about this in Jamaica.
Yeah. Oh, we did. We spoke about it in Jamaica. Yeah. So it's been on my mind. I kind of sat on it, but my friends encouraged me to go after it, and I think what I made is actually gonna be a game changer.
I had one more, but I can give 2. When you gonna let me meet Salon?
Whenever she's around, if I could get her, so we played Jamaica Carnival together for the first time last year, and I was so proud of her. She had an amazing time on the road. Like, I thought she might have like put on the costume and just sit on the truck, but she was on the road. She was trekking. She was there all day. We went to the after party, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, but she actually has Trini roots. Like her grandparents are from Trinidad, so like I felt like the Trini came out for sure. So I would love to get her to come to another carnival with me. Maybe I could get her to come to Crop Over. It all depends on her schedule, but I think that would be super fun. Like, she's wonderful.
Hi, Sloan. Nah, like, you're kind of cool. Like, I rate you very highly.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah. And honestly, from a motivational perspective as well, in terms of like, I've been able to follow a bit of her backstory as well.
Yeah.
Because, like, we've talked about this, tennis ain't easy.
No, it's not.
Like, nah, pretty cool. So, final question for you now,
Yeah.
Nico. If you had to give your story a title, I'm asking every person on this season this one question. If you have to give your story a title, what would you title it?
Girl, what the I tell myself that about 1,000,000 times a day. Like, what the you can't put that.
I can edit you, don't worry. Because
okay.
it's authentic vibes. Don't worry.
Yes, WTF. I say that to myself 1,000,000 times a day. But, we still getting through it, somehow. Like, it's a lot of work. I've been working like really hard. Like, I've been to most of the carnivals that I work with bands with this year, because I think it's important for me to go and actually see the markets and see how like all of the carnivals are different. Like the way people react to products are different. The way they shop is different. So the cultures are all different. So it's been honestly really great for me to kind of be around and actually see firsthand how it's working. Because like when you're sitting, remote and you're doing everything, you think, this is great, this is great. But it's a completely different perspective when you're there in real life. So it's been really good to actually see that, but I'm tired as hell.
We know, we can hear any cough.
Yeah, definitely.
Nico, thank you for showing up.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it, because if you left me hanging, there'd be problems.
For real. I feel like you'll forgive me eventually.
Debatable. And that's a wrap, guys.
Bye.